Hello friends, today we are going out to set up for my 5th winter field day. This is the first one that I will be spending with my local club. We're gonna run winter field day with the Wichita Amateur Radio Club. You ready? Let's go. Okay folks, here's the deal. I'm at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. This is gonna be a special one of the most intense trails. This is the operating station. That's a bear.
Wow. Do I really look like a guy with a plan?
The traveler has
I just do things.
This is a huge, beastly, bulging man. Plates were from Kansas.
Hey folks, I'm Mike, Kilo Echo Zero, Victor, India Mike, and this is the Travelin Ham. Well, we're all loaded up. I got all my gear set up right here. I just need my truck to return. It's out taking my daughter to the doctor. And as soon as it gets back, we're gonna head out to the lake and we're gonna help the club set up for winter field day. I think we're even gonna run a little POTA there. I am running the Morse code rig for the club. That's a little scary that I am that guy. So my goal today will be to go out, obviously get totally set up, and I wanna run a Morse code activation, and I wanna use some of the automated sending capabilities in N3 FJP. So I want to get that set up. I think I have that set up already. I want to make sure it works. I want to get accustomed to running, just using the software and not sending myself, and see how that goes. We'll cheat a little bit for this contest because potentially I'm going to be operating for more than a day. So I want to cut all the corners I possibly can, and not having to physically send every character myself will help out a lot. So that's my goal for today. As soon as the truck gets back, we're ready. It's time for field day! All right, we have arrived at Cheney Lake State Park, my home park, US 2331. Lake's looking a little frozen today. It's been pretty cold last several days. Thankfully, it should be thawing while we're here. Still gonna be a little chilly while we're operating, but it should be warm enough to melt, especially in the sunlight. And this is where we're gonna operate, right in here, right on the porch of that cozy little cabin. I better put my wind cover on too. You're probably getting some wind noise here. We're going to be working out of that right there. The deck space is going to be cozy. Thankfully, we're only a 3 Oscar, 3 stations. So we're going to be fitting in that deck right up there. And it'll be cozy. We'll all be able to easily tell who's on what band. And to get it set up here, I'll run some coax. We're going to set the DX commander up out in this space out here, I think. That's our task right now. Who's that cute poochie? Who's that cute poochie? That's a pretty face. All right, so here's where we're set up. My original plan was to run the end-fed half-wave. I'm just too tempted to try the DX commander. It's a great use for it. It's only for a few days. So it's debatable whether or not it's worth it to put up an antenna that takes that much work for a few days, but it is for a contest. And also I've got the new clamps that Callum has selected to keep the mass sections from collapsing. And that is the big problem I've had with that antenna, is I just can't keep it vertical. And I've let all the tension I can off the vertical elements, so they're not pulling down on the sections of the mast at all. But regardless, just the weight of the mast and swaying back and forth in the wind, and it just collapses within itself. So I'm hoping these new clamps will really do the trick, and we're going to try it right here. I'm going to set it up. We're 200 feet from our operating station right here. We'll get them set up. All right, we got it set up. Actually wasn't too bad. I had a little bit of help threading all the elements through and getting the ground radials set up all around. And I've got Callum's new Jubilee clip replacement. Focus, there we go. So that's how I can keep this thing from collapsing, which has been my big problem with it. So today's a test to see if that works. In the package from DX Engineering, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. Plus I've got the active element plate down there. I've got the original Jubilee clip on that. So it is set to go. So now we get to test the fun stuff. We get to hook it up at the other end with the fun equipment. I saw a couple pop up on Hamilard. I might try to get on voice, and then we'll run some CW activation here from the park using the same automation features I hope to run during field day tomorrow. So that's the next big test, is getting myself used to that. Another reason to use those automated features is I won't send my call sign by mistake. Sending W0 Sierra Oscar Echo is going to be a challenge for me. And I'll want to send Kilo Echo 0 Victor India Mike. I caught myself practicing sending Whisker Oscar. Whisker? See, I can't even say it. I caught myself sending Whiskey Oscar Victor India Mike. So running all day tomorrow, it's better just to do it automated, and that'll work out better. If you think I'm cheating on CW, hey, I got a ton of other videos out there of me running CW, no problem. You can watch all those you want. Please, like and subscribe. All right, we've got everything set up. I went ahead and activated a park, or I did a park activation. I got 12 contacts, 11 CW. I did get 1 voice contact, and I ran the automated Morse code. So I had the computer sending the dits and dahs, and that worked pretty well. There were a couple times I'm learning I don't want to use, there's one particular cell in the form where you put CQ, CQ, POTA, your call sign, and you can have that run loop automatically. I learned I didn't like that because I would have people calling me back and I'm trying to decipher the call, and then all of a sudden I start transmitting on top of that. You got to hit escape and then it won't send again, but my brain it doesn't think hitting escape. I got to focus on listening to the call. So I think what I'm going to do to fix that is I'm just not going to put anything in the F1 cell, the top cell that's set up to loop. So then I'll just use F2, F3, and F4, and then I'll only call CQ if I hit the button, and which is probably better anyway. I'll walk you up in here and I'll show you the setup. Nice and snug. We're close quarters in this little cabin. Yeah, so I think everything looks pretty good for tomorrow. We got all systems working. We had to get band filters set up. We've got networking between our computers. That was the club president in there, Andy. He's got a hotspot that we're working through there. So other people can come onto my system and run voice if they want, and he'll still pull up dupes and things like that, because that's where things will start to get messed up if you're not networked together. And you got people hopping around on bands, and other people show up and want to operate. May get people that want to come and operate for the first time on the HF bands, and you'd like to not have them the experience of someone saying, "Oh, you're a dupe, you're a dupe." So networking really helps in this case. So that's running. I think everything's a go. Just got to wait till 10 a.m. tomorrow is when it starts here. So I'll probably show up about 9 or so, get settled in, maybe a little earlier. It'll be nice and chilly, but hey, it's winter field day. We'll see you tomorrow. Hey folks, it is the next day. It is winter field day 2025. Starts in about 5 minutes. We got everything set up and had a little coordination meeting back there with the boys at Wichita Amateur Radio Club. And then after that broke, right before we get started here, I just decided to come out and check on my antenna. And it looks like, after being set up all night, wasn't too windy last night. Breeze was blowing yesterday and it's blowing a little bit this morning. Everything seems fully extended still. So I'm happy about that. If it makes it all day through today, and to the time when we tear it down sometime tomorrow afternoon, I'd say this is a win. These little plastic clips that Callum has switched out are good so far. So I've got the regular pipe clamp at the bottom, and then the next 8 sections all have those clips on them. They're a little bit of a pain to get on the first time because you got to thread these things all the way through. I think you can see this one better. You got to thread these things all the way through. So there's a lot of twisting. Now when I take it off this time, I'll just turn it a few times to make it loose, and then I can keep them all in this position. Next time when I put it on, I'll just slide it on. I only have to turn it a few times. Done, set up. So that's good. I'm happy with all that. Now it's time to, we're getting to button chair time. Just gotta get the butt in the chair. I don't know how much I'll be able to record. It is really small in that space. So running cameras and things is gonna be kind of tough, but I'll get started and run for a little bit and see how it goes. I think I'm gonna hunt and pounce for a little bit first to get a feel for things, get my brain adjusted to the speed of things before I run, and we'll go from there. I think we'll have some people come by that haven't been on the air before, so I will yield to them if I have an opportunity to. It's go time. Okay, so we're 3 hours in. It's about 1 o'clock local. I think I've gotten 45 contacts at this point. I was hunting and pouncing for the first couple hours with reasonable success. I was scared to call CQ because people tend to run fast in a competition, and I was self-conscious about not being a fast operator. But after a couple hours, and the other operator running phone was beating me, even with the multiplier, I just had to grow a pair and call CQ. That's what it came down to. So that's what I did. I finally got some guts and called CQ and doubled my contacts pretty quick. So that's probably what I'll do from here on out. I'll just find a hole and run. It's easy to find a hole on Morse code, so that's how we'll carry on. DX Commander's holding in there. Holding in there. Those clamps are doing it. Those 8 clamps, as you can see, because I haven't cut the tabs off, sticking out the side there. Doing good. Doing good. So far, so good. He's been up 24 hours. You can see he's taking some wind. Now, I'm a fan of just guying him down here. I used to plant trees for a living and dealt with this same kind of issue. And I know some guys like to guy it up that high on that last plate. But then, this whole section, or just this section of the antenna at that point, has to do all the flexing. This way I get it to flex all the way down. And when guys' antennas or their masts break, it tends to be up here at this high point when they have something tied on there, thinking they'll keep it straight, but that's a good way to break it. I like doing it just down low, and that's it. Go up a little higher. This is bound to open up as the evening goes on. Just all of a sudden be people all over me. Go up a little bit. 703-735. Nobody there. Don't wait too long on the first call. Gotcha. Hear the computer gagging on the code there sometimes. So I've noticed a couple times when my partner logs a contact and it comes through the network here, it screws with my processor and screws with the code. Ooh, that's way down there. No way. Yeah, same thing right there. Just logged another one. Okay, so wrap up on day one of Winter Field Day. Not bad, not bad. I didn't find that people were going too fast on Winter Field Day. That was nice. I think on Field Day I would have gotten run over. Winter Field Day was a pretty good day to try. I mean, maybe I'm getting better. I think people were going slower. A few mistakes in there. I started giving my own call sign a couple times. I had there in my automatic text that I was sending automated to the computer, I had my exchange there for a while as 3-0 instead of 3 Oscar. I was sending 3-0 Kansas instead of 3 Oscar Kansas. I probably made 30 contacts before I figured it out. Finally, someone was asking questions about it, sending me a lot of question marks, and I couldn't figure out what the problem was. And then I saw it. My Oscar looked a little skinny. So I got that fixed. I had one person there were a few people that really like to send a lot of information. Like when I'm calling CQ and they respond, they send my call sign first. They give my call sign and then DE and then their call sign. So they gave me my club call. So I typed in my club call and started to respond to my own club call while he was saying DE in his own call sign. That was kind of funny. A few little things like that made me feel like a rookie, but that's all right. That's all right. We learn. So it's not quite 9 o'clock local, and my laptop ran out of battery for the second time. So I got it charging off the 12 volt battery, and we'll just hang it up for the night. Got to run on 20 there at the end. I even ran a little bit of voice just to do something different. But I tell you, I can run CW a lot longer in these contests because I don't have those off signal voices chirping in my ear the entire time. Sure, there's signals outside that you can hear. You can also tighten up those filters a lot on Morse code. That was a big plus because I ran for about an hour on voice and I just got tired of hearing that all the time. It just drove me nuts. So I'm gonna go home, get some sleep. I've actually got a little bit of work I gotta do tonight. And then I don't think anyone's real excited about coming back real early in the morning. They're talking about 8, 9, something like that. It'll probably be cold again. And we got to start packing it up at noon. I think we're supposed to be out of the cabin at 1, even though the contest keeps going. So that's the plan for tomorrow. See you then. All right, radio friends. It is winter field day, day 3. Counting setup is day 1. Walking out to check on the commander again. Looks like he's up there at full height. We got to be out of the cabin. We're supposed to be out of the cabin by noon. They've told us we've had leeway. We have leeway to 1. So we're going to start packing up at noon. I'll get all my radio gear off the porch and then come out here and get the antenna after that. And that'll be it. This has been fun. It's been a good time with these guys. There's a lot of talk about clubs, ham radio clubs, especially if you're a new ham. What's a good club and what's a bad club? And I guess we define as a good club as someone that's a club that is welcoming to new hams. Welcoming to hams with new ideas, encouraging hams on new ideas, even if it's something they are not particularly interested in. This seems like that kind of group, the Wichita Amateur Radio Club. I'll put a link to the website, so if you're in the area, you can check them out. But this has been good. Man, it is challenging to film something like this, to film it and share it with everything else that's going on, everyone else you're working with. It's challenging to film something like this and share it, I've learned. It's a lot easier when it's just me out by myself on my hike or on my activation location. A lot fewer variables in that regard. Let's check out the antenna. Successful test. This has been the number one issue for me. The biggest thing I wanted to check on winter field day. Does the DX Commander work? This was kind of a late development. I thought, I don't have to set up my infed half-wave. I'd rather do the Commander and see if these new clips work. And they have. The wind has given them enough of a test to make me satisfied here the last couple days. So it's gotten rocked around back and forth. All these joints have had to shift back and forth and have had plenty of opportunity to work their way down. Now, having said that, it has also been very cold. That would tend to help it stay up as well, making all those joints a little tighter. I suppose that'd be the next test: is does it stand up to high temperatures, or just warm temperatures, 80s, 80s and 90s? Can it, with all that expansion, then can it still stay vertical? So far, I'm happy. So. I get all set up here. I'll probably have about 3 hours activating. We'll do all Morse code again. Try to call a little bit more. I'll get a head start on everyone, see if I can get caught back up again. I was, in N3FJP, It calls out the number of CW contacts, it calls out the number of phone contacts, it calls out the number of digital contacts. And we had a voice station, we had a Morse code station, and we had a digital station. So it was easy to see how the contacts were ranking, and Morse code was doing pretty good through yesterday, the end of yesterday afternoon. But the president of the club got on voice there in early evening and got, he was calling on 20 meters, and it got to be like a POTA activation, and he massed up 70 or 80 contacts in a short period of time and just flew right by me. See if I can catch up a little bit this morning, because I'm the first one here, other than the gentleman that actually stayed here in the cabin to watch over things. See if I can catch up a little bit. Okay. All right. I'll take that as a warning enough. At 210275. Good enough for contest day. (9:03 a.m.), 3 hours.
Whiskey 0 Sierra Oscar Echo 3 Oscar Kansas. We're 3 Oscar Kansas.
A little chilly.
I got it. Thank you very much. 73.
Hey, you got South Dakota. Nice.
Yeah, I did too.
No, you did. I didn't. I haven't gotten anything yet. Whew, that one's tough. And 3 so far this morning, I think. 15 minutes. POTA spoils me. POTA spoils me. Hey folks, we're gonna wrap it right here where we started. We finished, I forget what the points are, but I got about 150 CW contacts. We had, as a team, about 180 voice contacts and 25 digital contacts. So for 3 stations, the amount of effort we put into it, I feel like we did pretty good. And the things that I think are cool that came out of that are the folks that try new stuff, try to learn new stuff for this event. And I think that's really, stop the tracking here. I think that's really where these events like Field Day shine, or Winter Field Day shine. It could be Support Your Parks. It could be any real event. But we had guys that wanted to run digital. They wanted to run JS8 call, and they hadn't had much experience doing that. They hadn't loaded the software. They had never run it. They did it. Now they can run it. But that's what it's all about, getting people out to try new stuff, do new stuff, learn some skills. I'd never been the CW guy before for a group like that. So that was an interesting experience. I was really afraid that I was going to get run over operating within a contest-like environment. But that didn't happen. It was a lot of moderately paced Morse code. There were some guys going kind of fast. And a lot of those guys, I could hear them turning the dial back on their speed as their computer is sending. You know, it would be sending at a certain speed and it would gradually just slow down so that I could understand. You know, that kind of effect. I could actually hear the code decelerating. So that was nice of those folks. I didn't run into too many problems. There were a couple folks that didn't know the exchange. They were just responding to a CQ call. And I had one this morning that told me he's from Texas, another that said they're from Florida. I just worked them and said thank you. A couple of them I looked up on QRZ just to see if I could find their location. If I could find, like, the guy in Florida was obviously in South Florida, so I could go ahead and put him in as a 1H South Florida. If I was really busy, then I would just discard it and not log it. Family's playing. They've been playing Wii while I'm out at the lake. I don't know if you can hear them. They're running Mario Kart in there. But it was a great time. Thank you to the Wichita Amateur Radio Club. It was a great time. You know, and by organizing that, you guys inspired a lot of us to get out and try new stuff, break out new equipment, learn new skills. And I think that's what it's all about. And so, you know, that's achieved. Regardless of how many contacts you make, that's achieved. That goal is achieved. And there's a lot of talk about good clubs, bad clubs. This is a good one. This is one that if you come in new, you know, they're going to recognize that you're there. They're going to invite you in. And if you have interest in new stuff, I think they'll encourage you along in that. You know, even if there's no other individuals in the club that are interested in that same thing, I think they would. And there's other things that they're doing in the local community that they're working on right now that seem pretty exciting and would be fun to be a part of. But for us, for now, I think this is our last adventure in Kansas. And all this week is going to be work and doing final preparations on these guys to get back on the road. And that sounds so good to say. So today's Sunday, January 26th. A week from now is February 2nd. We hope to be in New Mexico on our way farther southwest. Let the adventure of 2025 begin. I'm Mike, Kilo Echo Zero, Victor India Mike. This is the Travelin' Ham. 7-3.